Welcome back, everybody, to the American Superbike Show. I'm your host, Edge Turner, and today, for your audio listening pleasure, we have the wonderful sounds of Daytona International Speedway. But before we get to that, MotoAmerica has put out a call for volunteers, and they need help for at each round for the remaining on the schedule for this year. And they're looking for people to volunteer for positions such as like course marshals, grid marshals, tire control marshals, hospitality volunteers, a wide range of positions that they have available. And the best part is that you don't need any experience for any of them. It's not a problem at all. They would love to train you. So the best way to get into this opportunity is they're going to have online meetings. The first one is going to be April 22nd at 7 p.m. and they're going to have another one April 23rd at 7 p.m. And to join one of those meetings, you just need to send an email to either the Chief Marshal, David Hawley, or the Deputy Chief Marshal, Lee Holloman. And I'm going to give you their emails. I'm just going to go ahead and spell it out rather than leave you relying on my pronunciation to try and figure it out yourself. So for the Chief Marshal, David Hawley, it's DHAWLEY at MotoAmerica.com. And the Deputy Chief Marshal, Lee Holloman, he is LHOLLIMON at MotoAmerica.com. Email one of those two gentlemen, and I'm sure they would love to have you take part in one of those meetings. And you can come join me at the track and hear these beautiful sounds live and in person. So now for today's episode. I did a bunch of recordings, a little bit here, a little bit there of various classes throughout the weekend, and I managed to edit it down. I have about 9 or 10 minutes that ended up being usable because one thing about Daytona, it's kind of hard to find a spot that isn't close to one of the speakers that's playing all the commentary from MotoAmerica Live Plus. Now, not only did I not really want that as part of the recording, I'm pretty sure there's probably some legality issues of me recording that and broadcasting it on my podcast. So I tried to stay away from it as much as possible. What I ended up doing is I typically would try to record just sessions that were not being broadcast by Live Plus, like the ones before the coverage started at the start of the day, because the PA system that was kind of the guy running the PA at that time, he was a lot more quiet, didn't talk very much. So the first part where we're going to kick this off is with Twins Cup. I went back and forth whether or not to include this in this episode at all. I went ahead and put it there because Twins, at least to me, is a big part of the weekend at Daytona. It's an exciting race, and they deserve to be there, and they deserve to be on this recording as well. And so what I did for the Twins Cup is I went to NASCAR Turn 2, kind of where the RVs back up or along the fence line. And I managed to put my recording there just on the exit of NASCAR Turn 2 so that you can kind of catch that upshift as they're starting to go, that final upshift as they're going down the back straight towards the bus stop. And a couple of times you get that pop too with the backfire from the ignition being cut out with the quick shifter. After that recording, we will move on into Super Hooligans. And I recorded that one from the same spot. And you were able to get that same benefit of, you hear a lot of upshifts right there. And, once again, it was just kind of the one place I could find away from the speakers. And when we get to the Super Hooligans, you kind of, you'll still hear a lot of twins going by, but you can, if you're really good, you can pick out the FXR of Travis Wyman going by with that bagger motor that sounds completely different than the other Harleys and the Ducati. But you also hear the Harleys and the Ducatis, but then you also hear the triples of the Yamahas, and I think there's a couple of Triumphs out there. And so that kind of gives you a little bit of a change in tone as the bike's going by, and a little bit of interesting comparison and contrast. And then after that, I got a little bit of a recording of a Mission King of the Bagger session. And for this session, I didn't record it from the same space. No, instead for this one, I managed to get my microphone and attach it to the catch fence after the kink in the infield section, closer down to the west horseshoe. But, kind of maybe 3/4 of the way down from the kink to the horseshoe. And what that gives you the opportunity is you can hear the bikes come screaming towards that turn out of the kink, and you hear them, back shifting down, going into that West Horseshoe. You can hear them kind of fade out and go as they start to accelerate towards that final left hand horseshoe that goes back up into the NASCAR banking. And then you can hear it getting quieter, but then you start to hear it coming back again. As it comes back around, it passes directly behind you at full speed on the banking with just those motors just roaring at the top of their lungs. And it's a beautiful noise to hear. This one is, the Baggers recording is also the most edited, because I had that same issue where I just kind of was near a speaker, couldn't really get away from the PA action going on. And so I kind of just did the best I could, and I've edited it a bunch down, not only because of the PA, trying to get that noise out, and filter it away from the bikes. But also the Bagger session tended to be one as well where the bikes kind of hung together in a group. So as they did that action that I talked about, going through the kink into the west hairpin or horseshoe, and then around the next horseshoe and back up onto the NASCAR track and around, you could hear all that go by, and then they get down to the bus stop and it starts getting quiet, and it was just quiet again. And it was just kind of silent until the bikes kind of worked their way back around to the other half of the track. So I did edit out a lot of those dead spots, and you'll probably be able to tell. The one thing that is going to be glaringly missing from this is I didn't record any super sport sessions. Well, let me rephrase that. I recorded a couple of different super sport sessions. They just were really bad recordings. Just not only just the same issues with the PA and a lot of dead noises, but I unfortunately forgot to bring my wind guards, the little fuzzy bits that go on the end of the microphone that kind of help, take care of those noises. And it was pretty windy that weekend at Daytona. And so I had a lot of wind noises, a lot of just ancillary sounds from around it that I was getting more than motorcycles. And I didn't think it was worth trying to put any of that in here. So I'm just leaving it out, and I will do better next time. And speaking of next time, I will be at Atlanta. Matter of fact, I found out this morning that my credential has been approved. I finally decided to apply for one, and it worked. And so I will be heading up to Road Atlanta, and chances are also looking good that I'll be going to Barber after that. And when I do go to these tracks, hopefully I'll be able to capture some more wonderful noises to bring to you in our fun little podcast that we have going. And when I do get to Atlanta, I should be able to capture some real, actual super bikes and bring those noises to you as well. All right, so that is a description of what is here to follow for the rest of this episode. Like I said, it's only about 9-ish minutes. Oh, one thing I did forget too. I told you for the Twins and for the Super Hooligans, I recorded in NASCAR Turn 2 right there at the fence. And there's a lot of RV parking along there, right next to the track. I didn't record the Twins and the Super Hooligans at the same time, but, it'll be kind of hard to tell when it transitions from that. There's only like 2 or 3 minutes of Twins Cup. And then the Super Hooligans will happen. And towards the end of the Super Hooligans, I had to cut that recording off a little bit early. And the reason why is because the little yippy dog in the RV next to me just started barking at me. And he decided that my presence was enough and it needed to end. And so when you hear it, you'll get a couple barks in there. If you're listening closely, you'll hear a couple little yips, and that will be your cue that we're transitioning from Hooligans on to Baggers. All right, well, that's enough of me yapping. Enjoy the sounds of Daytona International Speedway, and hopefully I'll see you at the track.